Hi, what's motivation got to do with it? That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm Dr. Barbara Blackburn, author of about 40 books, former teacher, consultant, and professor, and I love talking about motivation because I think motivation has everything to do with it, no matter what you're thinking of. I was in a school the other day and a teacher was talking to me about a challenge she was having with a student. And I said, well, have you thought about motivation? What's happening with the student's motivation? And she said, what does motivation have to do with it? Well, motivation drives everything. So today we're going to be talking about motivation. Now, you probably already know there's two big types of motivation. Extrinsic, the external type that comes from praise and rewards and tokens and toys. And then the intrinsic motivation, which is what happens internally. That's what we're going to talk about because that's really what we want to have happen. The extrinsic motivation, it's fine for short-term kinds of things, but it doesn't last. Daniel Pink, in his book Blink, talks about it's like caffeine. It gives you a jolt, but then it goes away. And so you can give tokens and prizes and extra credit to get students to do something quickly, but it's not going to stick. So again, let's talk about the intrinsic part of it. That's how students are internally motivated. Now, you can't make them be internally motivated, but you can create an environment in which they are more likely to be intrinsically motivated. There's actually two factors to that, value and success. So let's start with value. Students are more motivated when they see value in what they are doing. And you may be thinking, oh, I know about that. That's relevance. That's really important. Yes, it is. But relevance can look different for different students and different ages. For example, I was in a high school science classroom where the teacher asked one of the young ladies, her name was Shakira, he asked her, how was chemical mixtures going to help her in her job when she got out of high school? And she had that deer in the headlights look, but he knew what she was planning to do. He had asked all of his students to share that with him. So he prompted her, guided her with some additional questions, and she finally said, oh, I know how it's going to help me. I want to be a hairdresser, and if I need to do color on somebody's hair, I need to do chemical mixtures. And so she saw the value in what they were learning. In a middle school math classroom, I was talking with the teacher and she said, yeah, I was teaching positive and negative integers and the students just didn't seem to get it. And she said, I shared about how bank deposits versus withdrawals, but she said they just didn't seem to click for them. And about that time, the football coach walked in the room and he heard what she was doing and he said, do you mind if I share an example? He said, for those of you coming to the football game tonight, positive and negative integers is yards gained and yards lost. And all of a sudden, for a lot of the students, it clicked. Now, for my niece, Jenna, when she was in the first grade, this is what value looked like. She called me one night raving about her teacher and the math test she had taken that day. And what the teacher had done was give them a word problem. But in the word problem was the name of Jenna's two dogs. And so Jenna was very excited and very motivated because her two dogs were in the word problem. So value in terms of relevance can look different, but you're really looking at what connects with your students. Now, what if you're having to teach something and you have done your best and you have used ChatGPT and you have used Google and you cannot find any relevance for it? You are teaching it because you have to. It's on your standards. Then the good news is there's two other ways that students see value. The second way is through activities. Students are more motivated when they are doing something than when they are just sitting and getting. When I do my workshops, even when I do them virtually, I have somebody on site helping me facilitate the groups because I always have teachers doing something in my work because I know that it will stick better if they actually do an activity. Now, you may be thinking, yeah, but Barbara, I got to tell you, I'm teaching something tomorrow and there's no relevance and there's no way I can do an activity. I really just have to tell the students about it. Okay, I get that. That happens sometimes. The good news is there's a third way students see value. Students see value in their relationship with you. If they have a good relationship with you, they're more motivated. If they have a bad relationship, they have a worse attitude toward motivation. In other words, if they like you, they're more motivated, and if they don't like you, they're less motivated. Now, let me qualify it with this. There are times that you do everything you can do. You have done your best. You have tried to connect with a student in every possible way, and it just doesn't work, and you feel like you failed. You haven't failed. You've done your best. You have to do your best and let go of the rest, because sometimes nothing you do makes a difference. But a lot of times, what you do makes a difference, and that's what you want to focus on. So what you want to do is things like smile. They care if you smile versus frown. If you teach kindergarten or first grade and it's the first day of school, have their desk with their name card on it. They know that you cared enough to have a place for them. Upper grades know their names, and I know that's hard when you're teaching 7 groups a day, but know their names. Do your best to learn everybody's names. Again, be positive. Ask them questions. What do they like? What kind of pets do they have? What are their hobbies? You want to learn as much as you can so you can use that to help connect with them. Yes, go to their extracurricular activities. My nephew Matthew, when he was in high school, he played baseball. He's in the Navy now, and he can still tell you every teacher he had who came to one of his ball games. And more importantly, he can tell you which teachers didn't. And you don't have to be there for the whole thing, okay? Go for a while, make sure they see you, make sure they know you're supporting them, and then it's okay to slip out. But those kinds of things make a difference for students. So you want to build a good relationship. So value can be relevance, it can be activities, and it can be relationships. The second part of the equation is success. Students are more motivated when they feel successful or they feel like they have a chance for success. That's one we actually have a little more control over. So we want to give them opportunities that guarantee success. So for example, instead of just saying, which character is your favorite, you can say, which of these 2 characters did you like better and why? So you give them sort of a forced choice, but you don't give it too open, because too open sometimes makes them feel like a failure. You really want to look for those opportunities, giving them opportunities to take notes however they'd like to. You don't have to take notes in writing. You can take notes in pictures. They can do videos to show their notes. I know for me, one of the things I did with my upper grade students was I would give them a note framework, and I would give them the categories over to the left, and then they would put their notes on the right. But they knew what they were doing because they knew what the categories were. So those are the kinds of things you want to do to help build success. So to have an environment that encourages intrinsic motivation, you want to activate value and success. There are probably ways you already do that in your classroom. If you'd like to share them, put them in the comments, because others, including me, would like to read them. Also, like us, share us with others, subscribe to our channel, and just have a great day.